So today's the big day. You're gonna have your first virtual open house. So what are we gonna do? About an hour before the event, we're gonna go into Zoom, we're gonna find that virtual open house, and we're gonna go ahead and make sure that we send an email reminding everybody of the virtual open house that's happening. We're gonna go to the property, we're gonna make sure that all the proper lights are turned on, we're gonna make sure that all the doors are open the way we want them, the blinds are open, and that we've done a last walkthrough and we're real comfortable with what we're gonna do. And then right when it's about to start, you're going to go ahead and log into your Zoom. And what I'd like to tell you is that not everybody's going to show up right on time. Quite honestly, people might show up 5 minutes late, they might show up 10 minutes late, they could show up a half an hour in. So you want to be prepared for that. You want to know that those who are coming late to the event, you're going to have to go back through the house for them. You want to acknowledge that they have arrived. When somebody shows up on Zoom and you're hitting the admit button, which you're gonna get closer to the camera than I am here, right? You wanna give it a couple of seconds and then you wanna welcome them. So their audio may not be on, but yours is. So you would be able to say, "Hi Jennifer, it's great to see you. I look forward to showing you this property." And then you want to let everybody kind of know what you're doing. So I'm going to give it a couple of minutes for a few more people to join. I expect that some people will be joining as we're walking through the property as well. If you're not familiar with how Zoom works, you can scroll to the right or the left to access the chat, and any questions you have about the property that I don't address during this open house, please feel free to type those into the chat. I am going to leave everybody muted, and the reason for this is just so that there's not distractions. A lot of us have kiddos or dogs or cars driving by, and so we're going to keep it muted until the end, and then I'll open it up and let you all talk if you have some questions that you'd like to ask. Hi, John, how are you? Yeah, great, good. I hope you're having a great weekend. Thanks for coming to the open house. And so you see what I did there is I just dialogued with the people who are arriving, and I'm just letting people know, I'm acknowledging them when they come in, and then setting up the precedent for what's going to happen. And then if you are in this kind of a thing where you're using a tripod to do your initial welcome, there's going to be a little bit of a challenge to get that off the tripod, but I'm going to show you what that looks like right now. What's really cool is when I'm doing a video like this, I can't reverse my camera, but when I'm in Zoom, I can. So cool. So what I can do is say, bear with me everyone, I'm going to go ahead and get this camera ready for the tour, and then I'm going to reverse the camera, which I can't do here, and I'm going to take this as easily as I can out of my tripod, okay? So at this point, I'm going to reverse it, and I'm going to start my tour at the front door. So everyone's going to, you know, want to walk into the house the way that they would. And again, this is another reason why a gimbal is a really good tool. I'm going to do a small video on that. Or a selfie stick is a really good tool. If you're going to be doing this, holding the camera the way I'm holding it right now, I would suggest you hold it, and see my camera's coming towards me right now, so it's really hard for me to. So I've reversed my camera and I'm holding it with just one hand right now. But if I hold it with two hands, my stability gets even better. If I bring my shoulders into my body and I hold my shoulders close, my elbows close to my body, my core is going to keep me even more still. And so when I'm swaying with my legs, there's not this action going on. Okay, so I'm holding it really close to my body, and I'm going to show you what this looks like when I was in a property, just what it looks like when I'm walking through, and then what it looks like when you're watching me walk through. So as you can see, what I'm doing here is coming up the stairs and then very slowly pivoting through that entire open floor plan space. And then I target in on one area. For example, in this video, I'm going to go towards the kitchen. And what you'll notice is that I very slowly walk towards the kitchen. You are not using your normal pace for this. Okay?
3-bedroom.
And here's a little view of what
bath.
it looks like from my angle.
2003 townhouse right in the heart of Green Lake. You can see that they have done some updates in this kitchen with some beautiful new granite.
So at an actual open house, virtual open house, I would spend a little bit more time in that kitchen. For the purposes of this video, I kind of went faster than we should. So I am showing you then how I would go outside. I would show the privacy of a specific area. I would show what their view is in all different areas. Remember, these are the things that they're going to be looking at if they were at a live open house. But what I didn't do was walk into that kitchen and stand at that sink and turn around and have that viewpoint and talk about how you have perfect sight lines from that kitchen to entertain. But when I am walking back through here, you can see how I'm going very slowly. It's a really uncomfortable pace, but going very slowly. And then this is a good reminder when you're in a restroom like that, that you're gonna be in the shots, so make sure that you dress appropriately. As I'm heading up these stairs, this specific property has skylights, and so you want to feature those and you want to show people the natural light that's coming through. So I brought the camera angle up that way so that you could see it, and then back down. Again, this is a good thing to practice, and I'm going much faster through this house than I would if I was doing this over a 40-minute Zoom. I would expect that I would stop in the bedroom and do a full 360, and I would do that very slow, and getting every angle of the bedroom, getting every angle of each one of the rooms. What you are feeling here is that the speed that I am going at is very fast, and so take into account what it's like for a consumer to see everything in such a quick speed, right? This is a great opportunity to talk about the storage space in this bathroom. I talk about the fact that the master has access. I talk about the tiles. I talk about, how it has a private door for the shower and the toilet, separate from the vanity area. And one thing that I want to point out is how I go into these other rooms and I do, again, a full 360 of the room. No matter what the size is, keep in mind, people are going to walk in and they're going to want to feel the space. So this will really help them understand what that space is like. And then another thing that I want to point out that I do, so I come into this laundry room and then I talk about the fact that there's ample storage in here and how nice it is to have your laundry room on the upper floors with your bedrooms. But what I do when I'm done in this room is something I want to point out, which is instead of just turning around, I actually back out of this space because it's a nice camera angle for people when they're looking at a property. And then I'm going to take people back down the stairs. I'm going to comment again about that open floor plan, and I'm going to talk about these wood floors, and the great sight lines, all the natural light, and I'm going to take them down to the last level. The goal of my demo was just to give you some idea on the flow and the speed in which you need to go through a property. So what I would suggest is that you practice going at the speed you think you need to go, and then watch that back and think, is that too fast? What is that looking like on the other side of the computer? And then some tips. So I'm going to end with some tips. Tip number 1, start outside. Start outside the property and walk inside. I know you didn't see that in my video, but hey guys, come on inside, right? And enter that front door. That curb appeal is so important. So if you have a property where you can go all the way to the front of the front yard and walk through, do it that way. But people want to know that curb appeal, so give that to them. If there's a backyard, make sure you spend some time out there too. Walk that backyard and that perimeter. Number 2, know your plan, know your map, how you're going to present the property, and then what you're going to say when you're in those different rooms. Again, I guarantee you that people are going to come in 10 minutes late, 20 minutes late, maybe even 30 minutes late. And so you need to know that even though you went through the house, you may have to do it again. You might have to start all the way over and do the whole entire tour a second time with groups that showed up a little bit later. Number 3, stabilize your camera as best as possible. If you can, get a gimbal and practice with it. I will do a little tutorial on that because it's hilarious. I had the hardest time getting mine to function properly, but I'm going to show you a little video on that shortly. But that's a stabilizer. It's just something that holds your camera straight, and they range from $100 to up to $1,000. There's really expensive ones out there too. So you don't have to have a stabilizer. If you don't use one, use 2 hands as much as possible and tuck your elbows into your core so that you can stabilize this top part of your body, okay? And the better thing would be, so tip number 4, have somebody film you. Have somebody controlling the zoom and filming you walk through the house and giving that tour. You standing in the kitchen talking about the countertops, you talking about that open floor plan. So if you have somebody that can do that for you, that would be awesome. Then number 5, the biggest tip I have is slow down. I felt like I was going slow. I wasn't going slow enough. So pay attention to how quick you're going and use the pan. What I mean by that is when you walk into a room for the first time, do a pan of the space before you walk forward into another room. And then when you walk forward into that room, do the pan and then walk forward, okay? So make sure that you're kind of going with the flow. It's not natural. It's not how we walk into a room naturally, but it is gonna help the person on this side see it differently. So that's my tips for a virtual open house. I'm happy to help at any given time. So please let me know if you need any help at all.